Hey, how's it going today? It's Frankie and I'm back with another TV show slash series review. And again, I picked out another what you call decent series. And it's a comedy series to start, Funny Fridays this week. Start Funny Fridays from a Netflix series, obviously. And this is only the third that I had Netflix so far. And I've got to say, it's not been too bad. They could have had more options for shows and movies, like I think I explained in my previous video about that. But yeah, I had to look for something, and you know what? I'm 2 episodes into this series. As you know me, if I only like to watch the first 3 episodes or something, then make a judgment of it. I know I could watch the whole thing, but that's going to be too long and too much for me to explain. So I'm just going to be, I just had to do things a bit quickly. And this show right here, there is a lot to get through, and I'm going to be summarizing it as much as possible. I mean, I say it's not going to be a long video, it ends up being a long video. So yeah, the show is called The Residence, and it's about a murder that's gone into the White House involving someone called A.B. Winter, who's like the usher of this White House, you could say. And yeah, and this detective called Cordelia comes in and sort of investigates. Then you got the other characters of the White House as well, that's sort of believing there's something different, and it's typical type of like crime dramas. But yeah, it's a whodunit, obviously. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, when I was hooked on it, when I first, the first few minutes of it, I was like, it's my sort of movie. It's not the movie. See, again with me forgetting. I'm so used to movies. I keep saying movies, like movie reviews at the time. But this show right here, I knew it was my sort of show. Just the characters, the feel of it. I love the story in this, like, the dialogue. Some scenes are funny. Could have had more humour. That's the disappointing part. I finished episode 2. Episode 2 probably isn't as funny as the first episode. I can get through some of the characters quickly. I mean, there's some funny scenes in it. I mean, you can watch, obviously. I do give a lot of this away in the movies and shows. So please, watch it, and then you can just tell me what you think of it. So there's a few funny scenes in it, such as when this MPD comes in, or whatever you call it, Larry Dokes, something like that, I think that's his name, the officer basically, and he walks in, and Harry Hillinger is just arguing with, like, I think it's Larry Tripp, and I forgot who the other person's name is. They were there, right? And he was like, who's going to invite officers like them around? I mean, I wouldn't even get an officer to find my dick. I mean, YouTube don't censor that. That's what the dialogue said in the movie. And then Larry just says, you can't find your dick. Like that made me laugh. That's typical dialogue. I like that. I then see the scene where the 4 of those characters were like on a balcony watching, like, Cordelia and seeing what she's doing. And someone sort of says something funny. I can't remember what it was now, but it is kind of a funny scene now. We have a bit of a debate. Harry's sort of like the over the top kind of dude, but he just assumes one thing, and that's he's more biased. You have Cordelia, who, for me, is not too bad. Probably not the type of character I would picture being something like this. Like, I wouldn't have chose someone like it to be like a leading detective role in this sort of like show, but she's actually kind of funny. She goes and asks questions. She sort of talks like an old woman that saw like the body first, and I recognize that woman. That woman's from, like, I've forgotten her name. Excuse me. That played that character in the movie Jules. Where the guy discovers an alien in his backyard. That's where I recognized it from, and I'm sure it is her. And yeah, she sort of talks about, like what's been happening before, like, how, before, like, the murder, and she was like talking through about what she was. And there's some porn got mentioned. I don't and it got mentioned, and and Cordelia just started saying, no, wait, just be careful, not talking about porn here. And she was like, no, definitely not, absolutely not. And her son is, married to, like, the president of Australia or something like that. I think it's something to do with that. And then there's also another scene where she interviews a lot of people. And one person, she gives, like, shows a woman this picture of, like, I think like Winters it was, and she was like, well, I think I saw him in the corridor, the hallway, did I? Did I not? And and Cordelia goes, no, you haven't. I like this show. I love this show, man. Already, I wouldn't say it's the best show. It's up there with decent and good. I just love it. The whodunit, but I know it's a whodunit, but it's a comedy, so it doesn't really apply to the proper whodunits that's more serious. This one here is kind of like, you can still guess, but it's got humour to it, so it doesn't really matter who done it. It's the humour that matters in this sort of show. I think you have the chef that gets interviewed. That was like where she was at altercation with Winter before he died. There's loads of like back and forths here, and she sort of like argues with him. That was kind of, I like that, kind of decent. And Cordelia's also into birds, and she sort of has to, sort of does something clever where she takes the body out to the front entrance so that everyone can see what their reactions are. Yeah, I'm actually really digging this show so far. The Jasmine character, which is meant to be like the assistant, usher, which, you know what, I like her. Kind of cool character. Edwin Park, who's like the assistant, like detective with Cordelia. I've seen him before. He has been in other shows. I know I've seen his face. What's that? Oh, it's not in SWAT. It's somewhere else. I know I've seen him. I believe he's probably a comedian somewhere too. And you have the scene where, they just cut to the courtroom, and the woman just goes, so you're telling me that Cordelia, is striking a deal with the Australian vice president, or wherever he is, right? And to keep his affair secret, just to get him to stay in the room, and she goes outside and makes noise. I love this woman. That makes me laugh. Other people start loving. This is comedy. Even if it's decent, this is what I like right here. This is partly a good thing on Netflix. There are some good shows on there. Haven't looked at the movies yet. I might leave the movies until another day, because the shows are a bit of like practice to get me in the groove of like Netflix so far. But you know what? I mean, I even had my first ad. They even showed an advert for the first time so far. So that's good, because I got the free version because it came to Sky. So yeah, it doesn't, it no payment, but it comes with ads. First advert I've seen, even that's good. Usually you get adverts like, I get more adverts watching a YouTube video than than Netflix. So it's quite good, I guess. So far so good. Still kind of wish I had things that I've been looking for though. But it's testing out. It's still early days. Still, I didn't get a few years ago. But yeah, the other characters too. There's other chefs. You have one like, I think, French chef. And then she sees that his shoulder was a bit sore, and in the case he moved like a body or something. Yeah, you have other characters there too. Especially like who's that? Lily Schumacher. That's it. Or Schumacher. She said Schumacher. I don't know why she said Mocker. I say Schumacher, and she's like, I don't know what she's like the secretary, she said. Somebody also, Kylie Minogue's name is mentioned. I don't know if that actually is her in the show. I thought it was at first. It doesn't look like her to me. And Hugh Jackman's name got mentioned. I don't know why. One of the dudes mentioning that. And then a woman mentioned, oh, Hugh Jackman. Everyone's just good, but he's not as good as Hugh Jackman. Random names to mention, but you know what? It works in a show like this. It's typical. You would expect showrunners to mention names like that, and it's good. Good show so far. I got to admit, I'm excited to see what the other episodes bring. I might as well finish Furies. Finish to I think I can't remember. I'm in season 2 or whatever it is. I've got to try and remember anyway which one I'm on. But yeah, because that show is getting good too. So I'll have to watch one series first, and then move on. Watch one show first, then move on to the next, and then finish that one. So work it that way. It's less confusing for me, for example. But yeah, this show, I would recommend it. 100% might not be everyone's cup of tea. There's other shows that I've seen, but it's the pivot to what comedy should be. I like it. Maybe not the best, but decent's a good score really. And it's probably obvious what my rating is going to be. It has to be a 7. And not on 7. That's the thing with some of the ratings I've done. I already know the rating of something halfway through of watching a movie or show. I just have a number in my head. I'm like, this is the only number that I can think of right now. And that's the only number that is actually reasonable for this. I'll give them this. Paul William Davis, I think that's the person that directed this and wrote this or whatever it is. Well done. Well done. I hope it gets funnier, because 7 is very decent. I didn't want to go too over the top. I didn't want to go too harsh and go straight down. So 7 is 100% above average and 100% just below the good high scores. So yeah, could have had bit more humor possibly into this. It probably would have been more funny. I mean, I was laughing, but then there were scenes where it was a bit too much talking involved. I mean, you know, like I said, the scenes I mentioned just like. Also, another funny scene is when, what was I? Cody was, actually, she was asking this guy to take a picture, whatever it was, to write something, and after that she took a picture because I didn't have to do this to remember. She has to remember his faces, and he sort of like they just stayed silent whilst this guy was talking, and as soon as he left the room, I think was it Edwin Park, whatever his name is. I hope I didn't butcher his first name. I mentioned his name not long ago. And he says, it's best if you stick to questions. So was he originally meant to ask and she was just waiting? that was funny. I like that one. But yeah, highly recommend this show. 7 out of 10 it is. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification below. So see you in the next video.